We are back with another green game review. It's the composer K Hood back with the reviews that you can roll up to the original tree smoking game review sites. Because I know some of y'all don't like puzzles, some of y'all don't like freaky crap, some of y'all don't like a lot of stuff. When I'm smoking, I want a certain type of game. So let's get to it. Today we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is the follow up to Jedi Fallen Order. I think it's a really stupid trend to not name games the successor. Just call it Fallen Order 2. Call it Breath of the Wild 2. I don't know why they come up with names like this. It makes it confusing to people. You might just jump into the second game, not playing the first game. But it is a banger, so we'll let it get away with this. And so is Breath of the Wild, so we'll let them get away with it too. Now, the first thing I want to do is on a down note. I had some serious download issues. I have my PS5 set up so the download will still work while my system is in res mode. The game is 150 gigabytes, right? You still have to download it if you buy the disc, which is complete BS. If I buy a disc, I'm expecting to play my game on time. Furthermore, unlike on Xbox, where you can pre-download something you don't purchase, you can only pre-download PS5 games if you bought them digitally. PS5 is killing Xbox right now, but Xbox is killing PS5 on the UI. Just little bells and whistles like that is really what's keeping Xbox afloat besides Game Pass, because they really ain't got no games. But anyways, back to Jedi Survivor. Once I got the downloaded after a day and a half, wasting my day, everything from there was pretty smooth sailing. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, the game is hard. There are multiple difficulties, so that's cool, but if you're struggling on normal, don't be afraid to bump that boy down one. I played on normal the entire way through until I got to the last two boss fights, and I had trouble with the second to last boss fight bumping it down one level. They call it a Souls-like, and I have to agree. What makes it mostly hard is from checkpoint to checkpoint, you have a long distance, so you have to be aware of all the damage you take. You need to be methodical, and you need to be kind of like a Jedi. It makes you feel like a Jedi, having to think and not just slash through things like most games. Another thing that makes it a little difficult is it is almost a platforming game. It has a great deal of platforming. It's fun, but if you fall off of something, it will take a little bit of health, which I do like because it makes everything serious. Most platforming games, you fall, you just start back over. It ain't no thing but a chicken wing. So next, I will discuss the great accessibility options. One of the accessibility options is you can turn off the fall damage, which is pretty cool, but it makes the game not as exciting. I would recommend to somebody to leave the fall damage on, and then after you fall a couple times, maybe turn it off, so it still gives you that rush of having to complete something, but you don't necessarily have to die and start all the way over, which can be difficult. Another really cool option that I constantly talk about is you could get rid of spiders on this, and it turns them into another type of animal. On the first game, there are way too many spiders, not just for tree smokers, just in general. The Star Wars universe does not have that many spiders. I don't know why they got the idea to add all these in. Another great accessibility option is they give you puzzle hints. This is a great one for the stoners. And there is a cold training mode that's available at every meditation point. The meditation points are where you save, and you can get your skills boosted there. Now, on the downside to accessibility, man, these maps are still trash from the first game. Like, it is pretty hard to get around. Once you understand what the map's trying to tell you, it makes it a little bit easier. But I set out to not look up guides on this game, and I had to look up guides not only because I was lost, it was more because the map was telling me where I was supposed to go and it was incorrect, which is messed up. For instance, I died after a cutscene triggered and the map stayed in the area like it was ready to trigger a cutscene. I get online, there's a million people with the same problem, and luckily I found somebody that got through the problem. Like, look, follow this exactly, and it actually helped me push through. One of the coolest parts of this game is the customization. You get to customize your droid, you get to customize your suit, the way you look, And the best part is the lightsaber. There's like 10 to 12 components that you could change up, and if you're a nerd, this is pretty huge. I'm not huge on customization. I was as a kid, but I don't really care as an adult, but I kept changing my lightsaber to get that boy right. Something I find kind of stupid. Now, it is good that there isn't loot boxes, but the loot that you get is like hairstyles and beards and stuff, and it's like not too stupid, but if you go out of your way, you're like, oh, I found this new path, and your reward is like a goatee, it's pretty freaking stupid to me, but I can accept it because it's better than having to do all this to find some random loot, which I've talked about in other reviews. I don't really like when I am gaming stoned. Now, the graphics aren't that bad, but they aren't groundbreaking. I was expecting a little something better, but it really won't disappoint you. They're on the better side, but this is the first game I've ever really used film grain on, and I usually turn film grain off, so that should kind of tell you something. Another really cool feature is you get all the abilities from the first game, so it's not some stupid like, oh, I forgot everything I had to do, now I have to relearn everything, and it just adds on to the new game, which is very, very fresh. Now, shout out to this game for making the way for Zelda easier. I'll have to say that right now. But let's also talk about these performance issues. They said they're getting a little bit better, but on PC, I heard it's a wreck. And it's the first time I've ever seen screen tear in a PS5 game. Now, the game has a really good flow to it. It doesn't seem like you're going from chapter to chapter, which makes it really hard to put down. The thing that will make you put it down is it's hard as heck. So you might want to take a breather and take a puff at each one of those checkpoints. Again, I said they're the meditation points, so that goes kind of cool. You meditate and elevate at the same time. Now, the first game was good, but it kind of felt like Star Wars stuff was slapped onto an Uncharted build. I'm talking about Jedi Fallen Order, the first game of this series. I liked it because it was the first time they kind of gave Star Wars fans what they wanted, but it still felt really unauthentic. One of the big things about the unauthenticity is like, you've watched Star Wars, you can slice through walls and stuff, but you're telling me I can't dismember somebody? On this game, you can. So you might not want to play this with your kids, but again, it is an accessibility option to turn off dismemberment, which is cool. I'm not into gore in real life, so it always cracks me up that like this is one of my biggest features that I want in video games. I am huge on dismemberment and chopping limbs off and stuff, and this game has it, and it makes it sweet. The sound effects are so dope. The music is so fire. Like on Harry Potter, there was a lot of bells and charms and whistles, and I really like that game. I gave it a good review. But as you get closer to the end of the game, you kind of get used to it, and the charm honestly kind of fades off. In this game, the charm is all the way through, and I love it. Now, this is worth the money, and most of these games I return right after I buy them because I'm not getting them for free. Hopefully one day when my reviews get up, I will. But this game I'm really thinking about holding on to because I see myself buying it when another Star Wars show comes on because it is that sweet. It makes you feel like a Jedi. Now, as far as my ratings go, this game gets a 4.5 out of 5 to me because of the performance issues. I push it down from a 5, but this game is everything you want if you are a Star Wars fan. It gives you everything you need. Now, for a tree smoker, I'd put it in the 4 range. Is closer to a 3.5 than a 4.5, but I have to give it a 4 because of how amazing it is, how much people just like the spectacle of Star Wars and smoking and watching the particles flicker when the lightsabers hit each other and all that sweet stuff. But this map is pain-inducing, and it definitely can draw down the score. Now, the story is fire. It is kind of off in its own world, but everything comes back and you get some cool characters that are actually from the Star Wars universe in this one, just like the first one. The visuals are alright, but they're good enough. The audio, as I explained, is bar none. It is amazing. It is beautiful. And so is the gameplay. And lastly, the value for money. This is one of the best value for money $70 games I've played. Because, as I said, when you see Star Wars again, you'll be like, ooh, I need to fire that back up. So I'm really happy about this review, as you can tell. My next review will be impressions of Zelda Tears of a Kingdom, because ain't no way I'm going to finish that game in a couple weeks, so we'll just be doing impressions. I hope this guides you towards buying this game, because as I said, it is fire. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, this is fire, so I will see y'all next time. Smoke one, make it last all the way into the next review. I'll see y'all then. Peace out.
You will regret that.